Your life would be so much better if you would just start to operate in your own God-given gifts and abilities. I went through a period of my life when I was searching. I was searching and I wanted God to show me exactly what it was He wanted me to do. I had already left my job and moved to a whole different city. I started doing new things, but I really wanted to do what it was that He wanted me to do. I really wanted to know what my God-given gifts and talents were. And He told me to think back to when I was a child. Think back to what it is that I did naturally. So I thought back to when I was a child. And I remembered how when I was a kid, I loved physical activity. I always liked jumping, hip hopping, skipping, all that kind of stuff. I had a little baby weight set in the backyard, and I'd go out there and start lifting weights and doing all the arm exercises and going back to my grandparents talking about, look at my muscles, daddy, look at my muscles. I ain't have damn muscle, but he was like, yeah, baby, you got some big old muscles. I was also always the person that my friends could come to when they needed sound advice or encouragement in whatever it was they were trying to accomplish. So naturally, I got into fitness. I started teaching group fitness classes, one-on-one trainings where I taught people what they were supposed to be eating. I taught people the proper exercise that they were supposed to be getting. I taught people the reasons as to why these foods were important for their bodies and why it was important to get that exercise. And I encourage them to continue to keep going on. And the thing about it is, when you're actually operating in your gift and talents, 9 times out of 10 is something that you would do without being paid for it. See, before I actually started working in fitness, I did it for my friends anyway for free. I've always worked out. I've always been an encouragement to others. So at that point, God was telling me to put those things together. And that's what I did. And when I tell you, I found so much joy and so much peace in doing so. Now, I'm not in that season of my life anymore, but I thank God for the experience of being able to do that. 'Cause I'm still able to use those same natural God-given gifts, abilities, and talents in another way. And one thing I want us to remember is just because it's your God-given gift or ability, it does not mean that it's always going to be easy. Just like anything, your gifts need to be developed. The first time you rode a bike, you just didn't get on that bike and start riding. You got on that bike and you fell down a couple times, but then you got back up and you kept going. So when we start getting on that journey to becoming what it is that God called us to be and start using those gifts and abilities, keep that in mind. Know that you might fall, you might stumble, but get back up and keep going. Think back to when you were a child, write it down, start to develop it, and start operating in those gifts.